Cobra. Exhaling through an open mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, open mouth. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And then we open our eyes, bringing our arms out to the side. Inhale, have the back of your hands touch overhead. Exhale, bring the arms back down to your side. Inhale, open. And exhale down. And continue inhaling through your nose. Exhale, open mouth. Last 3. Last one. And then keep your right arm out to the side. Left hand covers your right ear. Now inhale and bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Exhale and come back up. Inhale, right ear to the right shoulder. Exhale, come back up. Continue. Two more repetitions. Come slowly to center. We switch our arms. Right over left ear. Left arm out to the side. Inhale over to the left. Exhale up. Inhale. Exhale. Last 3. Slide your fingers in front. Inhale, have the back of your hands touch. Elbows are up towards your ceiling. Exhale, bring the elbows all the way down. Drop your shoulders, create the space in your neck. Inhale up. Exhale down. Even pull your shoulders a little bit down. Last one. Now bring your elbows back. up, and exhale forward. See if you can have your elbows touch in front. Inhale back. Up, exhale forward and down. Last 2 repetitions. And then we want to reverse the direction. Still having our elbows touch on the front, bringing the elbows above the ears. Exhale back down. A lot of fireworks in Greece, so you might hear that in the back. Nobody's shooting, they just have fireworks going on. Last 2 repetitions. Good, bring your arms back up, fingertips still in front. Inhale and bring your elbows back as much as you can, lift your chin. Exhale, have the elbows touch in front, round your spine. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. Last 2. Elbows out to the side. Inhale left. Exhale right. Let your head really, if you can, let go to the side if your neck allows for it. Keep your sit bone nicely connected to the chair or the ground. So 2 more. Keep your fingers here, open your knees wide. Inhale, arch. Exhale, just bring your right elbow between your knees. Inhale, come back up. Bring your elbows back. Exhale. Alternate. Exhale. Last 2. Inhale up. We finally drop our hands onto our knees. Going into Sufi grind, inhaling forward, exhale, rounding back. Pull your navel towards your spine when you go back. Last 2 repetition into this direction. And then we reverse. Last 2. Coming to center, have your feet close together, hands around your knees. Inhale, spinal flex. Exhale, round back, chin to chest this morning. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last 10. Good. Now bring your left leg up, wrap your hands below your left knee. Flex, point your left foot. Now we stimulate our earth energy. Now we rotate, doesn't matter which direction because we will switch. Reverse. Perfect, good. When you're ready, you switch. Really bring the knee as high as possible and flex point. Find your breath. Start to rotate. Reverse. Good. Now we come to the last movement this morning, and it's the most simplest one, but it's so powerful. I hope you can see my feet. Otherwise, that's not very effective. So I want you to come, make it very simple. Come up on really onto the tip of your toes. Inhale, exhale, flat down. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Powerful breath. Last 10. Perfect. Excellent. Earth is stimulated, all the chakras. Now it's your turn.
Wow. Okay. We're fully stimulated. Let's just hope. Good morning, ladies. So nice to see you, to feel you, to hear you this morning. So today, shall we talk about today? What do you want to talk about today? Well, first of all, I would love it if you ever just send an inquiry to me or to Siddhi that says, I'd like to hear about this topic or this question or this idea or this belief system or whatever it is. Give us some direction about what's moving you, what's bubbling up in you, so that we can address it. It would be really fun. So we're open to anything, all things. So a couple of things. First is the retreat payments are due, deposits due. That was in our last newsletter. It'll go out again in this week's newsletter. And it's, of course, not too late to join up. If traveling here and staying here is challenging for you in terms of pricing, we have a couple of members who have offered to let some of our Sangha members stay with them. So there would be a place for you to stay that wouldn't have a charge, and then you would drive with them daily or on your own to the yoga loft. So I'm just putting that out there for you. And also, oh, I want to put this in our chat. This Monday begins our Monday Mayatri mantra. There you go. Monday Mayatri Mantra Zoom link, so that you can join us on Monday from 7:30 until 8 for our gathering to chant. It's just imperative that we chant something together in our offering from our Sangha. Siddhi and I feel like this is an opportunity for us to be adding our piece into the mix for peace, not only of ourselves, but of the greater world community, the greater global community. So please do join us. You can drop in and, doesn't have to be every Monday, but it's from 7:30 to 8. And we have four different ladies who will be guiding us one time a month. Siddhi's doing it, I'm doing it, Lorna is doing it, and also Joji, the owner of the Yoga Loft and our local Buddhist Buddha Mama. She is probably the closest to this mantra because it is a Buddhist mantra, and she practices the Mayatri mantra as part of her Buddhist community offering. So anyway, each week will be one of us. So please do join, and please invite friends and family. And it's open to men, women, children, anyone who wants to come on. So please do have them join us. So today is Diwali in India, which is the Festival of Lights. It is a holiday or a festival that is similar to our Christmas in that it isn't just one day. There's like a season for it. The season started about a week and a half ago and will go on for about another week, where there's a lot of family preparation and invitations there's just different events that happen all the time for like 8 days in a row, though the main day is today on the 11th. And it is a celebration of the sacred over the mundane, or the sacred over evil. It has a lot of mythology and story in it, but what I love about it is that it has done what so much of India does, in my experience of India, is that it blends the mundane and the sacred together. So similar to our Christmas, and how we've really blended Christmas to be both secular and a religious celebration. So you needn't be a Christian to pick up the pieces of Christmas holiday. and to decorate and feed and gather your family together. So it's something that I wanted to share with you today is that Hinduism is not a religion. It's a cultural identification by birth. You actually can't join it officially. You can't take a class and become a Hindu. I experienced this personally in South India, where I was recently, with respect to temples. South India is a bit more traditional than Northern India. And there are many temples in South India that I could not go into, even though I practice as a priestess in a South Indian temple. And I have been ordained to do that by a guru who's very well known in South India. I still am not allowed in because I'm not a Hindu. And I can say, well, I practice many of the Hindu traditions. I observe the festivals, all of the things that a Hindu would do. I'm probably more Hindu than many of the Hindus in terms of how I operate my life and live out my life. And yet they take one look at me and they say, no, you're not a Hindu and you're not allowed in. And there's no piece of paper, no marriage, no nothing that's going to allow that to change. So I find that so interesting because in India, that being said, what I appreciate about India is that the culture has blended the sacred and the mundane, and it has succinctly put the living out of all things sacred. So what's happened in India that I was unable to articulate for a number of years, but that now is really resonating for me, is that there is no space between the mundane and the sacred in India. Everything is happening together. It's all blended in together, and you can try and separate out. If you go to temple, it's this, or if you go to a sacred spot, it's that. But if you just hop into a taxi, you find that they've got all the sacred icons and deities crazy glued to their dashboard. And if you walk into any shop, whether it's a religious type of shop with little deities and whatnot for sale, it can be anything, any kind of shop, and you'll find a little altar in the corner where they light incense and a lamp each morning, and they may have their family deity and as a small icon on this very little altar, or they may not. They may have chosen one that's the deity like Lakshmi for abundance, or they may have chosen Ganesha for overcoming obstacles and protection. They've chosen, but they are incorporating the sacred is just so woven into their DNA that they don't separate it from their mundane. There's not the things we have to do for life and then the sacred over here. It's all the same thing. So it takes a lot of energy and courage to change and travel a new path of understanding and belief and a new way of articulating our life. And yet what I want us to try and do today is to imagine that we step out of this old framework that we've been using to bifurcate our life into these sections, the section of the sacred and the sacred section of the mundane. And we assign certain activities, tasks, practices that go into one bucket or the other. And then we decide in our day, how much time do I have to put to my spiritual life? And how much time do I have to take care of my life? I want to erase that boundary and put both of those buckets into one. So we're here on this call, we call ourselves seekers. I'm really wondering, what are we seeking? What are we looking for? When we say that we are seeking, what are we looking for? When we say that we are spiritual, what does that mean? If you believe that you are both human and a spirit, both, then you are always having both a human being and a spirit being experience. You can't separate out that you're only having a human being experience in this activity and you're having a spiritual being experience in this activity. If you are human by nature, you are always curious and in inquiry. This is how we've had evolution of the human species. If you are a seeker in your spiritual journey, you are also a seeker in your human journey. So we're seekers everywhere, it turns out. We're not just seekers in a spiritual path. And yet the articulation and how we use the vernacular is that I'm a seeker in my spiritual journey. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say I'm a seeker in my health journey, or a seeker in my enjoyment of music, or whatever the other area may be, that we separate them. And that seeker we define and associate with it being our spirit journey, which we then bifurcate from being our human experience journey to being only one portion of our human experience journey. Where did we get to that? How did we come to taking the fullness of this embodied form and creating these little bubbles and everything's separated into a bubble? How did we come to that? The sacred and the mundane, there is no separation. As many teachers have taught, and that I am often to say, and I'm sure you've heard this, is that it's either all sacred or none of it's sacred. So there isn't a choice that I'm going to choose this list of things and make them sacred, and this list over here is not sacred, which we generally do based on our labels that we give, things that are messy, things that are uncomfortable, things that we don't enjoy, we might put into that we feel are task oriented, we put into our mundane box, and the things that are leading us to something that feels like we're moving our consciousness forward, then we put those into the spirit box. There is no difference. If you choose to have something sacred in your life, it's all sacred then. Everything's sacred. Cleaning the bathroom is sacred. Serving food to the homeless is sacred. Getting your car washed is sacred. Washing your car even more sacred. Everything is sacred. I know you embrace the sacred because that's why you're here. And we talk a lot about what are the rituals and the activities and the ways that we bring in sacred. And I apologize for that because I feel as though I've been contributing to this idea of sacred being a certain list of things. And it just simply is not. And until we can erase that line and use our journey of spirit to break down the constraints of labels and shortcuts that our brain has designed in order to make it simple for us, we aren't going to be able to live into that everything is sacred. So I want to stop defining this journey that we're on as a Saturday morning Sangha as a spiritual journey. It's just a human journey, which we're doing as a spirit being and as a human being. We want to weave those two back together and allow this journey to not have a label, to be our life maturation. Really, we're just maturing. We're using this as a tool to be evolving in our life maturation. And we can give whatever labels we want to give to it. That's just another constraint. It's just another constraint. So let us find ways to drop that label and allow ourselves to live into the crevices and the small places where we have heretofore have found discomfort, or we have judged this activity is less than. I just have to get it done and get it off my list. Why not delve into that activity of what we would have called the mundane and just see it for what it is? We don't have to label it anything. It's life. It's just life. Allowing ourselves to be able to enter into our day without the expectation of setting up certain times of our day that are more sacred than others. Every second of your day is a sacred moment, or it is a life moment. Let us have that opportunity this next week while we do things such as chanting the Maya Tree mantra for peace around the world and peace within ourselves and the expansion of our hearts, so that we can actually accept that which is happening in the world as being life rather than not sacred. I don't think anyone's going to want to call what's happening in many places in our world right now as sacred, but they're life, and they certainly aren't mundane. So let's stop using language to define experience, and let's start allowing ourselves the spaciousness of all of life as being the beauty of the journey that we're on. And we're not going to call this, I'm not going to call our gatherings as our spiritual time, because this isn't your spiritual time. It's just lifetime. And it may be adding to the evolution of your spirit, but so is taking out the garbage, if you want to allow it to be that. If you're willing to accept that every second of life is sacred, then it's all that way. So this week, I would like us to enliven the vibrancy as we perceive that everything around us is part of the journey. We liberate ourselves. So this way we will use an affirmation of all of life is the journey. All of life is the journey. There's no betwixt and between or one or the other. Everything is the journey. There's no spiritual wisdom. It's life wisdom. It's life wisdom. And we bring it in because our spirit takes it in and our humanness takes it in. We don't separate it, but let's not label it to be only one half of our being. Let's not buy into that message. Let's understand that life is so much more expanded than that. And we're going to live into that possibility. And let's see where that takes us this week, ladies.